So this is more about understanding how some of your deep horror ambience sounds are made. I'm going to do the simplistic version, and then it's up to you if you want to go more extravagant. Now, it's really quite simple, but you just record sounds, and lots of times you just want them random or with specific snap variations. So one thing I can do is just talk in a microphone like this, but sound effects that have sudden impacts also have an effect. So like hitting something or tapping something or clapping. So I'm just going to start making some noises, and I'm going to clap at the same time. Okay, here we go. We got to record, of course. That was actually kind of embarrassing. But that's okay, because here comes the technique. You ready? Where's pitch shift? Equalization sometimes can have a good effect too. You have to work with this, okay? Now all we're going to do is lower it a lot. Now if you want to do preserve duration, you can, but then you'll have to add this pitch shift multiple times. Or I prefer sometimes to not use it in this instance, but just lower it quite a bit, right? So normally it sounds like this. About. Pretty dumb. Then come all the way down. Now let's listen to it. Oh, too low. Hear that little clicking? It's because it's too much for it. So let's bring it up a little bit. And so often while you're doing this, you'll say, okay, this is actually a different sound than I anticipated. That almost sounded like a dragon walking, didn't it? Something that can help too is to add reverb. You can even add a lot, but if you're going to do this, you're going to need to tone the volume down quite a bit. If that's too much. Sometimes you can add bass to it. Lots of times you actually end up with too much bass. So you might want to go up the treble instead. Then if you even want to compress it, you can do that. Makes it go a little faster. And something that is fun that actually works really well is just take random sounds and use these effects and see what you get out of them, because sometimes it's not what you expect. Something like bird sounds, birds chirping down low sounds actually quite creepy. If you do a bunch of like people talking or a bunch of people screaming, slow that down and it sounds like a bunch of ghouls in a graveyard. There's lots of other little things you can do. It's all about experimenting. And this is actually a very simple technique that I use for making some of my horror sound effects. In my opinion, this is probably one of my worst sounding ones. I don't think this is particularly good. I wouldn't keep this one. But that's just to show you the technique. And then I go from there with different sounds, just slowly manipulating it until I get it just where I want it. And I prefer, of course, to use my own sounds. I'm not a big fan of reused content or just, taking other people's work, for my sounds. I would rather use my own sounds, and so I'll go out and get my own sound effects and then mess with them. One of my favorites that I used recently, my friend was with me, and we recorded the windshield wiper blades while it was raining, and I slowed it down, and it sounded like a whale underwater, but kind of creepy. So if you go look for that sound effect, it sounds like a whale underground or underwater. That was actually windshield wipers. Pretty cool, right? Excuse me, something in my throat. Okay, well, there you go.